Hey guys, it's Super Adventure back again with another Airsoft video, and today we're going to be talking about HPA. Now, there are an abundance of videos out there that explain what this is and what kind of Polarstar engine you should buy, or even if you should buy Polarstar, or what goes where and how to put things together. But none of them are quick, dry, and dirty, straight to the information and helping you shop and buy. As someone who went down the rabbit hole of HPA and trying to just buy the stuff that I need, there aren't many videos that just show people buying the stuff that they need, which is really annoying because then you got to go through 30 different videos to get to where you want to get to. What I'm going to show you in this video is how I tackled and how I went shopping for the necessary components that I needed to get me up and running. Now, first things first, I'm going to assume that you have your airsoft firearm of choice, whether it be your pistol or an M4 that's gutted out to swap in and put in an HPA engine of some sort. For pistols, obviously you don't really swap out anything. You just change the mags and replace the air system that it's going through. Now, once I'm done explaining all the components, I'm gonna hop on the computer and show you the things that I would buy off of Amped Airsoft. This is not sponsored, by the way, if I was to be starting HPA from scratch. Also, when I start talking about air tanks and regulators, I am only going to be referencing SLP air tanks and regulators. It has been tried and true, and it just works and is very cost effective. If you're very much a beginner and just want to get into it, I would very much only recommend SLP, and that's all we're going to talk about today. Now, do you need a lot of money in order to convert into HPA? Yes. Pulling up my HPA related equipment that I bought off of Amped Airsoft. The equipment and the Polarstar Jack engine included $495.66. First things first, you need a storage device for the air, and that's the tank. This is an HK Army aluminum 48 by 3000. Kind of a lot of information there, right? I said aluminum first. The material your air tank is made of really only matters at this stage if you're just starting out for weight purposes. Carbon fiber tanks cost a lot more than aluminum tanks, and carbon fiber tanks have to do this rehydroing fancy schmancy thing. So you may be looking at extra costs about 5-6 years down the line. Now, the second thing I said was 48 by 3000. The most common numbers you will see in the beginning will be 48 by 3000 and 68 by 4500. Just think bigger number, bigger space. That's really what it means. Cool. So if you want more air, buy the bigger one. If you want it to be heavier, buy the aluminum one. If you want it to be lighter and pay a lot more money, buy the carbon fiber one. To pair with your SLP tank, we have this little guy right here. This is an SLP regulator. This thing is essentially a lock and key and regulation of the air that's coming out of your tank. This is the Amped SLP regulator, and probably the one that most people will use, and the one that I recommend as well. Quick functionality, the big green knob, if you twist it all the way down, it's going to turn into the on position, and air will go from the tank into the end of the nozzle. If you twist the green cap off to where it's very loose and not in the on position, it's clearly in the off position. Now, this next huge knob is what regulates the amount of pressure that comes out on each trigger pull or each little burst. You simply pull the knob up and start twisting in the direction that makes the PSI go up if you want it to go up, and if you want it to go down, you twist it in the opposite direction and slowly release air from this little quick detach point that's at the very end. Air won't go anywhere until you turn the green knob into the on position, like I said before. Now, if you want to turn the whole system off and you're done playing for the rest of the day, you simply unscrew the green knob into the off position and then plug your line into the quick detach system on the side and let the air out of the regulator. Once the PSI is shown as 0, that means there's no air in your regulator and there's no air actively coming out of your tank. This thing on the right side of it is the quick detach area. This is where you would plug in your quick detach air line that goes to your gun, and also the area where you would press in and plug in the air line in order to release any air if you wanted to. Next up is your line. This is the end that goes into your tank, and this is the end that goes into your gun. Now, for lines, do you want to cheap out on it? No, you do not. There have been many instances where I got this stupid thing tangled while playing airsoft, obviously, right? In the heat of the moment, you're gonna forget that you even have a line in the first place, because no, it doesn't actually bother you as much as most people would say. The only time it'll bother you is if it snags on something, and trust me, you want a solid line that even when it does snag will not break, because if it does break, you're gonna have air just oozing out everywhere, and you're gonna have to stop playing the game and kind of ruin your experience, right? And in terms of length, you want it as long of a line as you want it to be. Choose the one that fits right to your situation. Next up is a storage for the tank. You want to put it somewhere, you can put it in an old backpack. For me, I put it in the water pouch that's on the back. I don't carry water in it. Now, if you are upgrading your AEG or your existing GBB pistol or any sort of GBB platform, that's where this next step comes into play. All I'm gonna say is choose your engine wisely for an M4 or AEG related platform. There are tons and tons of videos out there that'll show you which engine does what. I would not suggest overspending, because at the end of the day, all it does is just presses air out and shoots a BB. I'm not a huge fan of overspending. There is a quality difference with all of them 100%. But if you're just getting into it, there's no reason to go and buy an F2. That's just me. Now, if you're converting your existing GBB into HPA, there are two different approaches. You can take your existing GBB mag, tap it with these HPA nozzle adapters. These are super easy. The problem is every time you reload, you also have to unhook your line from the empty mag, put the new mag in, and rehook your line every single time. An alternative is Tap Airsoft, Primary Arms, and other companies. They make adapters for your existing weapon that just goes into your mag well, and you can use M4 mags or whatever mag, because it's a direct air line into your gun rather than into your mag. You might be wondering what I'm running. I went super balls to the walls in terms of my exterior. Each and individual part is kind of a different brand, but we're talking about internals, right? So I have the Polarstar Jack V2 HPA unit for my little engine of choice. The standard trigger board was kind of mushy, so I went and got a black leaf speed board that makes the trigger pull oh so crispy and short. I got a amped SLP extra large regulator with a line. I got the 42-inch heavy weave in the black and beige colorway. And for my Polarstar Jack, I got the integral grip line in the strongest option that they offer, which is the industrial weave. Side note, if you have the option to get your integral grip line customized, get the strongest one you can, because this one you can replace pretty easily. The other one, you're gonna have to open up your gearbox just to change out that line. That's gonna be super annoying. I got the stainless steel for the ends, so good quality. My FCU for the Polarstar Jack runs off of a 7.4 volt, 250 milliamp hour mini LiPo. Another side note, and one that I found to be very useful if you're converting an existing V2 gearbox into a Polarstar system. Get a shim set for your specific gearbox. Amped offers these, and they make your Polarstar engine just super stable inside of your gearbox. That about wraps up everything here. Let's hop onto the computer and actually go through ordering all the necessary components you need in order to get your HPA setup up and running.
All right, so we are on the best website to get all sorts of starter HPA related equipment, not just starter equipment, honestly, like all sorts of advanced equipment related to HPA. These people know HPA like the back of their hand. Their product, tried and true and trusted. All right, so first things first, I like to type in starter HPA. And this right here, this amped starter kit, is what we're going to be doing today. If you're a beginner in HPA, just go over here and click this one. Now there's a whole list of stuff, and we're going to go through all the different options. So first things first is the air rig choice. You can either get the SLP or SLP XL. You can get these Wolverines, red lines, and all that, but I'm going to stick with either an SLP or an SLP XL. The normal SLP is a little bit smaller. I have the XL because I got my stuff during the shortage, but you can also get the normal SLP. Now, the line type, this is where I talked about the length and the material that they use. This is the line that goes from your tank to your gun. For the sake of today's video, let's just go balls to the walls and get the industrial weave. All right, this is going to be the strongest option they offer and the biggest option. Now let's look at the options that they have for each of these. I'm going to stick to the 42-inch. For the standard weave, you have all these different color options. These are just color options, all right? For the heavy weave, you have all these different color options. And then for the premium weave, you have all these different color options. You have a lot more. Now, if you're kind of like on the fence of where do I see these color options, just type in line on a new window and you can look at all the different lines that they have. So for the color options, just go to each of the individual weaves and you can see the different weaves that they offer, and you can see the different colors that they offer. So for example, if we go into the standard weave here, you can choose the different colorways. And it should show, yeah. So it shows like this is the black and red spiral colorway. This is the mint colorway. If it'll load, this is the mint colorway. You can do it on this window and then just go back to whatever your purchasing area is and then choose the one you want. So for me, the one that I have is a 42-inch heavy weave. I got the heavy weave because this is the line that's going to be going from my gun to my tank. I don't need it to be too strong. I just need it to be strong enough. So I did the heavy weave and then I got the black and beige. Industrial, you can always get the industrial weave. It's just a lot more expensive. And it only has two color options. So you have this like silver and gold. You can add a custom text to the line if you want, like put your name on there. I opted not to. This HPA macro gun side connector, it's included. It's just it's a QD plug, so you can quick detach your air. Integral grip line. This is really if you have a Polarstar or whatever sort of engine. For example, this is the silver line that I showed you in one of the clips coming out of my gun. This is the line that goes from my Polarstar engine out my grip and just kind of sticks out of my gun. They have all these different options based off of the specific engine you have, and you can choose the specific weave too. I would choose the industrial weave every time for an integral grip line. It's the strongest option they have, and again, it's the one where if you break it, it's kind of a pain in the butt to replace it. So for me, I have the Polarstar Jack, the new current version in industrial weave, and I had stainless steel. That way it just looks cooler. You can also add a custom text to this one as well. Cool. HPA tank. I have the HK Army 48 by 3000 aluminum tank in black. You guys can always choose any of these. All these tanks will work for the regulator that you have. Remember, 48 over 3000 just means the size. This is a lower capacity than the 68 by 4500. Carbon fiber down here, a lot more expensive, $160 additional compared to just the SLP black aluminum that comes with the original price. It's a lot lighter and it holds a lot more. Really depends up to you whether or not you want to spend that kind of money. This is just a tank fill valve cover, totally optional. It just protects the tank fill end of your tank. I have one on mine. I don't remember actually paying for it. This is a lubrication kit for any of your like air related gun systems or anything like that. If you want to, totally optional. I don't want it. This is a tournament lock if you're playing in specific tournaments or whatever and they need yours to be locked in. Usually they just put a zip tie in. Like at a high ground, they'll just put a zip tie. This is the regulator gauge cover. This is to add additional protection onto your gauge. The gauge has like a kind of a glass front to it. This is just to protect it. I don't have it. These are power options to power up your FCU. These are just really tiny little LiPo batteries that just power up your FCU. I have the amped, this 250 milliamp hour one. It's really small. This is a battery charger if you don't have a charger, so you can charge one of your batteries. I have one, so I didn't buy one, but let's say for example you didn't have one, you're totally new, just get the 10energy one. And if you're not doing like a Polarstar or Wolverine, blah 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 blah, like actual engine related stuff, and you're just converting your existing GBB mags into HPA, this is where the magazine HPA taps are. They have a relatively limited selection. There are other websites that have a lot more, and I'm pretty sure if you just go in and search for your specific gun's mag adapter, it'll show up. Just on this page, there's only a limited selection. Okay, so let's say you have just a normal TM high kappa. You would add this little HPA adapter, one for each of your mags, because all this does is just tap your individual mag. So that's about it. So if in my initial spec, this comes out to about $220.95 just for all the air related equipment, plus the integral grip line. If you don't need an integral grip line, that's minus $30. And if you don't need a battery, that's another minus $12.99. And if you don't need a charger for the battery because you don't buy a battery, it's another minus $27.99. Strictly speaking, if you don't need a battery, don't need that, and you're just converting your existing GBB, you don't need an integral grip line at that point, right? It would only be $149.98. Obviously, going the Polarstar and engine focused route is a lot more expensive than if you were to just tap your mags or tap your existing GBB. Cool? Sweet.
But that is it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I appreciate it a lot. Click that like if you ended up liking the video, and subscribe if you want more content just like this. And please comment down below if you have any questions. I'm addicted to my phone, so I will respond to them as soon as I can. Other than that, see you in the next one.